Hello everyone, I'm Susanna with Hypnosis Haven, and today's video I'm going to discuss inductions and the first session and explain a little bit why the first session is so much more different than the subsequent sessions. When someone comes in for hypnosis for the first time, they don't necessarily know what they're coming into. The hypnotherapist might have explained in detail or vaguely on the consultation call or before the actual session begins what hypnosis feels like. They might have said it's a focused state of awareness. They might have said that it's like going to the movies. They might have said it's like driving on the highway and missing your exit. There's many ways to explain what it can be like, but you don't know what it's like until you're actually in it. And so for that reason, there's a lot of anticipatory anxiety. There's a lot of nervous energy that the client can be experiencing, not necessarily negative stuff, but just that excitement, that thrill of going to do something new for the first time. With that energy in mind, the hypnotherapist is using that to our advantage to help the client go up and up that mental peak, to help take them to that part where we snap our fingers, say deep sleep, and the client goes deep sleep. The different levels of hypnosis that are experienced are going to vary based on what you're doing. Of course, if you're going in for hypnoanesthesia because you're going to have surgery and you want to use hypnosis instead of anesthesia, then that is a different level of depth that is required to practice and master versus the level of hypnosis that is used just for hypnotherapy, for everyday type of hypnosis. So there are different levels. There is just the regular hypnotic depth. There's the hypnoidal. That's the lighter one. The second one is cataleptic, and the third one is somnambulistic. So even though there is no way of saying, okay, if we follow this formula, it will always give these results, we do have a general idea of what is going to work for the public, for our clients, but it is ultimately the job of the hypnotherapist to gauge the client's progress and see how they are responding to hypnosis and where they are. You can ask for those ideomotor responses, and we do tests where you might have heard of the arm raising. That is a very common one. There's also different types of tests that we do, which I'll touch on in a moment, because what I wanted to explain was the steps and the processes. So when you come in for that first session, in the beginning portion, after we do the cognitive part and you talk about what your challenges are, what your goals are, and I ask questions in a cognitive way, then I ask a series of questions that is based on the Kappasenian method of hypnosis. And Dr. Kappas is the founder of the Hypnosis Motivation Institute. And in his process of coming up with his program, he interviewed and hypnotized well over 30,000 people back in the 70s and was able to realize that there are two different types, well, more than two, but he discovered the emotional and the physical suggestibility types. It's not an emotional as in these are my emotions and I'm a mess, and like, we refer to as when we say emo, people tend to think of the person, dressed all in black with heavy makeup just being an emotional mess. That's not what we refer to, what we mean when we say an emo in this theory. So we have the emotionals, which are the suggestibility type that they take in information inferred, meaning they're looking for the hidden meaning of what's being said. They don't necessarily take it in directly. They need to think about it, and then over time they will respond. There are certain characteristics and ways for us to know which clients are the emos and which clients are the physicals, the fizz. The fizz is the type of client that responds to hypnosis literally. So if you tell them you will stop smoking, they will stop smoking. If you tell an emo you will stop smoking, they're not going to accept that so readily. They're going to need to know why they're going to stop smoking, even if they're the ones who are in here asking for help. So during those questions, I find out where you are on the scale. Nobody is 100% anything when it comes to ENP. We have the primary suggestibility type, and then we have a secondary suggestibility type. On that scale of 100, there's 50. Of course, 50-50. 50 is the natural somnambulist, and there is a different scale to, well, when you're approaching a somnambulist, you kind of have to help them figure out which side would work best for them, and you can see based on how they respond to those next level of tests, the physical tests. When we're doing this suggestibility types, the questionnaires, it lets us know what the pure potential of suggestibility is. So sometimes a client will score 60 to 70% on the suggestibility type on one side, and that lets us know that this is the top, this is where their pure potential would be. So when they go to their deepest level, this would be it. Now, when we have somebody that is in the somnambulistic side of things, we try to put them on one side or the other, because when you go through life as a natural somnambulist, you tend to go with whatever guiding force is the strongest around you. So it's not necessarily a good thing to be a somnambulist or to be in a hypersuggestible state, which is a topic for another video. But staying on the topic here with inductions, I'll go on. I'll talk more about suggestibility types because that is a really neat, in-depth topic I have been looking forward to making a video on. So this is a good segue into that. So when we take that suggestibility type and we do the physical tests afterwards, you might have heard seen videos of these different types of tests where, they can do the both arms out. When you do the both arms out, we do the heavy light, and we have the client visualize that I put heavy stones on one side and there's balloons tied to the other side. So one is going to go up, the other one is going to go down. Now I'll tell you the secret here. The client that is physical is going to respond to me saying one hand gets heavier, the other one gets lighter. Heavier, heavier, lighter, lighter, heavier, heavier, lighter, lighter. A physical is going to respond to the words, and then I have them open their eyes because their eyes are closed when they do it, and they can see the varying degrees of how they responded to that. They shake it out, put the hands back out again, and then I don't even say anything. Sometimes I just say same thing. Sometimes I just do this, and I infer same thing, heavy rocks, balloon tied around the wrist, and the client that is an emotional, the one that takes an inferred, will respond. They don't have to hear it. Another way that we test is the finger spread. You might have heard where, you have the client look at their hand, focus on the finger, and you have the finger spreading wider and wider, and then you just do it a couple times till you see how far it goes. And then you have the same thing. You just infer and you ask them, shake the hand out, bring your hand back out again, place it here. And I'll tell you another thing. If the client is already following your orders, they're already in hypnosis. They're already following your instructions. So when they bring that hand up and then they just do it without me saying the words, that is an emotional. When we're doing the hand raising and you have the client put their hand on their armrest and you can see them gripping it and holding on and they're resisting, that's usually an emo. A fizz, when they get their hand up, sometimes you say your hand will begin to lift and rise, comes right up. They don't even delay. There isn't a moment's delay. And this all has to do with their degree of suggestibility. The other thing too is when you say your wrist will twist in a moment and get your hand to turn towards your face, they start to do this. So it just depends how literal they take in information, and we find this out as we ask the questions and we do those tests. So when you come in the first session, you have that expectation. When you come in for the following sessions, you have a different type of expectation because now you have an expectation with something to compare it to. So the second, third, all those other sessions are going to be different. The different ways that the hypnotists get their clients into hypnosis varies on their type of training and what they feel most comfortable doing. Hypnotists don't always do the tests from the physical test and then convert into hypnosis. What they tend to do is the progressive relaxation, which helps the client generally just relax the mind, and a lot of times that's what people want, is that relaxation, and they don't always give themselves the time. And to me, it's amazing to see how quickly you can go from being completely excited and with all the energy of the day down to calm in a matter of 3 to 5 minutes. So the progressive relaxation isn't necessarily missing out on anything, but I know a lot of times clients are expecting that show that they got from the first one. So that is the question that I received. It was about inductions, and in this email they mentioned what was called the flower technique. We call this one fractionation. I think that's how we say it. And it's open your eyes, close your eyes, open your eyes, close your eyes, pick a spot on the wall. And when you're going in through the process of hypnosis, your eyelids will feel heavier. It's a nice feeling when you just give in and you just let your eyelids close. And you use that to pronounce the relaxation of the facial muscles, because sometimes you can see somebody fighting and resisting the relaxation, and you can just tell them to relax, unfurrow the eyebrows, and then all the muscles of the face just relax, and relax the jaw muscles. And you don't always make the time or have the thought in the day to relax all the muscles in your face, to relax the scalp muscles, to relax the muscles in the back of the head, down the neck, down the back, the upper back, the middle back, and just take some time to focus on the different parts of your body. We just go through the day without thinking about our bodies. We just go. Yes, we feel the aches and pains and the hunger and the things and the times it's what to do, but it is something that, you know, when you come in and you get a progressive relaxation, all it takes is a few minutes to get there. So it's not that it's one or the other. What it is the matter of how to speak to the client. So you can still experience a wonderful, deep, comfortable, calm, or relaxed state when you're in hypnosis. It just depends on if the hypnotherapist that you're going to see knows which words to use best for you. If you are of emo-suggestibility type, you most likely will not respond to direct suggestions. You also would not like to hear things like, you are feeling more relaxed. You are feeling XYZ. A client that is fizz, I would say that. You are feeling more relaxed. You become more comfortable. A client that is emotional suggestibility type would prefer to hear something like, calm comfort comes to be known sooner or later. All you have to do is breathe. See, I shouldn't even say all you have to do is breathe. It's more about allowing. So I'd say, allow the breath to become more rhythmic, more comfortable. And sooner or later, comfort and calm can come to be known. So when you're speaking to an emo in hypnosis, you want to speak indirectly, and you just want to speak in general. They respond to metaphors best. And a physical wants to hear directly that they will succeed. An emotional likes to hear about other people's successes. And then they think, you know, I can do it too. So they go home and they think about everything that was said in hypnosis, and then they think and think and think until the thought feels like it's their own, and then it becomes their own action. And then they think, well, you know what? I didn't even need that. I did it by myself. But the hypnotist, the hypnotherapist, put that thought in there and allowed for the process to take place because of whatever obstacles were there before. So this is where the hypnotic suggestibility type comes in and makes a difference. So I'll make another video on that, explaining the theory of E and P, what the differences are in suggestibility and sexuality, because E and P, the emo and the fizz, those are ways that we take in information. That's the way that we learn. The way that that is formed, and I'll go more into it in the other video, is as children. And then our emotional and physical sexuality has nothing to do with sex and the sex act. It has to do with the way we behave in the world, the way we act, the way that we present ourselves. So what most people would call an introvert tends to be an emotional, and what most people call an extrovert tend to be the physicals. And just like on the scale of suggestibilities from 0 to 100, there is a scale of sexuality. So in the next video, I'll explain more about that. For now, I'll wrap it up and say thank you for the email. And these questions, keep them coming. I really enjoy getting emails from my viewers. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, my website is hypnosis-haven.com. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.